Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Har and Hooch. My name is Jade Astro from the Fifth Wall. We have Kay Bly from the Fifth Wall, as well as Desiree from Temper Drinks. And tonight we're going to be discussing season three of Stranger Things. But before we go into that, can we go ahead and get that introduction to our drink tonight, Desiree?
Oh
All
yeah.
right. So tonight's drink is a little bit of an homage to the 80s. You probably heard of it, probably had it, didn't know you was drinking it. It's called the Woo Woo. In this cocktail, you're gonna need some cranberry juice just to start the drink. You're gonna need some peach schnapps, whatever brand you like, and then good old faithful vodka. Shout out to the Russians this season. So we're gonna mix that up in just a second.
Yes, I am so excited. So, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be discussing some rundowns, some conspiracy theories, some ideas that we have about the upcoming season for Stranger Things, and we're going to run down season three. But before we get into that, I am excited to get into this. What did you say? The woo woo? The woo
The
woo?
woo
The
woo.
Woo Woo.
The woo woo.
Can you woo woo? Okay, anyway. Uh-huh. Whew. All right, so you're gonna start with your glass. This drink has gone through the times, so it's been made so many different ways. I can't tell you a right or wrong way. So I'm just using a regular highball glass. Get your ice in there. Oh, I don't want the water. Fill it up good with your ice, because this is one of those drinks that you don't actually have to shake. You build it right in the cup. And we're gonna start off with an ounce and a half of your Russian water. And you're also going to do an ounce and a half of your peach schnapps. I ain't on the act right today. And then top that off with your cranberry juice. As little or as much as you like. Depends on how much liquor you want to taste today. And that is the woo woo. I am fond of a little bit of stir on my woo woo. You don't have to, but I don't know. I just like to get that vodka off the bottom. And it's got a cute sweet and a little bit of tart, but it's just right.
So I'm gonna let you guys know. I put a little sparkling peach water.
You always with some fizz.
With little fizz, she got a little fizz.
Go fizz. I don't get it.
I found some. Yes, I found some peach, some sparkling water, peach flavor. I said, "Oh, that's gonna give it what it needs."
Whatever works for you.
But this is good. I'm here for this.
Okay. While we enjoying this lovely drink, I want to go ahead and dive into, we can talk about some of our favorite characters from Stranger Things. We can talk about like the relationship dynamics, how they have evolved over the three seasons. So
Hmm.
my favorite like evolution of relationships is the mom and her sons. Because in the beginning, you can see where she was like a helicopter mom, and they even went through all this crisis. And then in season three, she was hardly ever there with the kids. She was
Right.
not.
There with the kids.
She was not there with the kids. Like in her own little way, she was in her own. Well, really, she was like in her own world. So I don't know. What was you guys like favorite relationship dynamic or your favorite character?
Um, I think I like that Elle got to come out of her shell a little bit, and she got to have a friend in Max. Um, I like that they had that girl power thing going on for a hot second. I thought that was cute. Um, and then I think my breakout character this season was Erica. I loved her feistiness. Lil Mama,
Yes, like, I'm trying to get that ice cream for life.
faux life.
For
I
life.
I like Will this season
Bill.
because I feel like I get Will. I think I was a Will.
Aww.
Will was a bit of a late bloomer. he still wanted to do, nerd things with his friends, and his friends wanted to do, grown people things with their girlfriends. And he
Right.
still wanted to, like, we're buddies, let's do what we normally do. Like, that's when,
Dungeons and Dragons all day.
exactly, when Mike said, you think we were going to sit around and play games all day? And Will was like, yeah.
Because they were still kids, technically. They just being fast.
Yeah. I mean, and
Mm-mm,
Will lost a lot of time. Like, he was,
yeah.
he was gone he was in the Upside Down for a while, and then, season 2, the
Trying to
he
get
was
his
still
life right.
connected to the mind flayer, so it was like he was going into those, um, those spells where he would just like be, he would still look like he was in the Upside Down, and then have to snap out of it. So, he lost a lot of time there, and he still wanted to be like, I want to spend time with my friends now and get back to normal. But his friends are like, hey man, we getting older.
He wanted
And them
to get wrapped
hormones
up
was
with his friends.
raging. But what about Steve and Robin? Like, I thought the whole entire show, I'm like, okay, Steve is getting encouraged to let, Robin know how he feels. Okay, they have the truth serum, and boom. I did not expect that. I didn't expect for her to come out and say she liked girls.
I don't think Steve did either.
I don't think nobody did.
No.
I don't think Steve did either. But for some reason, I still feel like she cares for him. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like they kind of link up still. I think that she
Yeah.
might be curious. I don't think she just like girls.
Yeah. I mean, Steve is a good looking guy and he has a good personality. I really think that, I think she'll give him a chance. For some reason,
Okay.
like, I really think that she'll give him a chance, and it might only be until he might like find him another girl that he's interested in, that she might actually see, like, wait a minute, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I'm
That
about
she
to miss
might need to grab, that she should have grabbed him when she could have. So I really think that there's still something there. Like, she's still young, she don't know yet. She been hanging out with Steve a lot. They spent like a traumatic event together. Like, they'll always be close because of that. You know?
Yeah.
That is true. All of them were in season 1. I don't know if you, I mean, I know you remember, all of them were like in that technology group or club together. What was that?
Oh,
You
the
know what
AV.
they were? Yeah, where they were making the different experiments. But I
Mm-hmm.
noticed was the only one that actually continued that kind of, like, he went to camp for it. He made his own, like, antenna to reach out to different people, especially his girlfriend, and they ended up getting that broadcast from the Russians. So why do you think the other kids like stemmed away from that? Because he was the only one that kind of kept that path with the technology and engineering.
Because
I kind of also. Oh, go ahead.
remember season 2, Dustin had a little Demigorgon.
He
Remember, he had
did,
a little pet one.
but
So
but
I
still, I
really
don't
think
see how the
that
other
that
ones
had a
fell
lot
off.
to do with it. That, once because he felt connected to his little Demigorgon pet, and like, once he had his own kind of relationship with the Upside Down world. So why not keep going, with that? Especially when the other boys might have, like, Dustin probably noticed himself that the guys were branching off into being into girls and stuff like that. You know? Because think about it, even last season, Mike had Elle, and then Lucas was like leaning towards Max. So that left Dustin out here, and that left Will out here. So Dustin was probably like, you know what? They're all getting girlfriends. Let me go off to camp.
True.
And I also think he always has been the brains of the group. So that's
Hmm.
still his focus. Like, he's the genius of the group. And
Yeah.
so they're all smart, but he's the one. And so, of
Mhm.
course, he's going to go off and do super nerd stuff over the summer. It's just his personality.
And And then he
It was
found a
nice
little
that
girlfriend.
he found him a little girlfriend too. So that was still cute. Like he's like, I can do both.
Thought we thought she was a ghost for a whole couple episodes.
You know, I always believed in Dustin. I believed him. Even
I
when
believe him
nobody else
for real.
did.
Because it's like he know how his friends are. If he's lying and they find out, they are going to joan him. You hear me? They are gonna go in on him. Another relationship that I thought was kind of cute is Lucas and Erica. The entire time, Erica is like looking at Dustin like, I know you ain't talking about my brother was with y'all when y'all did that.
Right.
I know you ain't talking about my brother. Like, I don't know what my brother did. I would feel the same way. Like, what you mean? I don't know what my brother. That's my brother.
Because
Like,
you know how we just feel our brothers are just, we don't look at them like everybody else does. So she
Right.
kind of had to think about her brother in a different lens. So that was kind of a shock to her, like, because, they shut each other out a lot. It's like he does his thing, she does her thing. And she didn't know enough about him because she didn't pay enough attention. So I really think in the next season, I think their relationship will be closer because now they actually know a little bit more about each other.
Fish and child endangerment.
okay. If my mama know,
I'm
like,
saying
how
she's my favorite.
And she gave them she gave them hell the whole time. Like she wasn't letting up on none of them.
hear me? I want her to run for president 2020. You hear me?
Because Erica was reading them left and right.
Yes.
To the right. To the left. To the right. So let's talk about Poe Joyce. She can't never keep a man, can she?
Girl, but wait a minute. Because I didn't see this one coming. I wasn't ready for the Hopper advances.
Me neither. Like, come on, man. Can she keep some type of love in the house?
He lonely.
But he coming back, y'all. He ain't gone.
Hopper
I
is
don't think
hungry.
he is. I think they're trying to play with our heart.
Well, he posted on Twitter. Oh, maybe you don't know. Okay, so the actor that plays Hopper has been posting numbers as his profile picture since the season released. So
What?
some genius fan somewhere decided to dial those numbers in order, and you end up calling Murray's phone. It's the number that Murray gave out. And it's a voicemail that's like, hey, if this is Mom, call me later. But if this is Joy, I'm glad you called. We got to talk. I got some news. So it's like a cute little Easter egg that fans have been going crazy about. It's online. I heard the clip of it the other day. So he ain't gone, y'all. When they said not the American, they were talking about Hopper.
Exactly. Something told me to keep watching the after credits for Stranger Things because if you think about it, when it ended, it looked like they were showing the sky, like you seen stars and stuff in the sky, and I'm like, okay, they must go show me something else, and they did. So I'm like, I'm glad I waited it out. Thank you, Marvel, for always letting me know that there's always more.
There's always something at the end of the credits.
But when after that end credit, I was like, okay, so they got Hopper. But yeah, back to Miss Joyce Byers. Yeah, couldn't keep her husband. Then was it Bob? Bob died,
Yeah.
and then right when she was trying to get over Bob and hop over to Hopper, and then that whole thing happened. So
Any problem because she don't even have like, even though she loved her boys, if you think about the first season, she was so busy. The relationship was kind of like, I love my
Strange.
children, but the oldest son was running things kind of in the house,
mhm.
and it just seems like that disconnect with her and the male figure. Like that's just me. I'm always kind of dig deep. Um, The other thing that I don't know if anybody's thought about it, but did Will even like get the rest of those like counterparts from the Upside Down out of him? Like, did he detoxify from the Upside Down? Because they never went to that.
Last season they tried to say they did, because remember,
Yeah.
they turned the temperature up on him because it liked to be cold, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
so
they burned him out.
yeah, they tried to burn him out, but yet Will would still know when the mind
Yeah.
flayer was near. He
Like
still knew.
something is still there to
Connected.
connect him.
Mhm.
Yeah, to keep him connected. So this is where my mind is going with season 4, because Elle is now living with Will, and she
Mhm.
don't have her powers like that. What if the mind flayer was to use Will because he's like the strongest host? Like he's still holding on to a little piece of the mind flayer, even though I don't know.
I don't know if they'll repeat traumatize Will like that, but
We
I
don't
am
know
really curious.
Hey,
I'm
what
really
about
curious because y'all are moving. Like where the hell y'all going?
I'm going?
I mean, Will, Elle, and Joy and Jonathan are they gone? They leaving the city. So next season, what is the relationship going to be with the kids? Because they're going to be in two separate cities. What's going to be happening in this new place where they are? Is the mind flayer going to follow them, or like how is that even going to play out? You can't split up the crew.
You know what? It could, because being that the Russians have Hopper, they probably will use Hopper to get to Elle.
And Joy, and
And
all of them.
mhm.
But that's why I was trying to figure. I feel where you going, Desiree, because that's why I was trying to figure out maybe if Will could have had some, residue left in him, and I don't know. I mean, I see what you're saying. Like, how are they going to play that off? And they're in different cities, but that's going to show you that that's probably why they introduced um Robin's into this season some more, Erica into this season some more, because they're gonna kind of like take some places of those actors in that town. So you're
Mhm.
gonna see them acting along with the crew now, like they're part of the crew. So that's what I was thinking about, because now you kind of have extra people that's into the crew now that understand what's going on.
Can we do a little shout out for how Billy, redeemed himself in the very end? Because I did not like Billy in season 2. I did not like Billy in season 3, but Billy took that death like a champ. Okay?
He
And
did.
I love Billy. He is like the badass of the show. I love Billy. I
I don't
hated
like
that
Billy.
it was him. I hated it was
Yeah.
him. But
I
you
did
knew
not
he
like
was
Billy up
Billy.
until that point where he stood up to the mind, like he stood up to the mind flayer. Like he
Right,
was
right.
just like, I know what's about to go down, but I'm not backing down from you for this. And he took it, and the mind flayer gave it to him. He gave him the business.
I had the sympathy for
Well,
Billy
he got
because he
to
was
say
Billy.
But Billy was that he did have a hard life. I get it. Especially like the dad was really not that nice to Billy.
passionate. Like he was very mean to Billy. Like he didn't allow him to express himself. Like it was more of you can't be basically a pussy. Excuse my language.
Then
Mhm.
he beat him
Like
up too.
Yeah,
yes,
his
he
dad
beat
was real
him,
abusive.
not spank him or give him a whipping. He beat him, and then Billy basically became a replica of his father.
Hmm.
And I guess he thought that was how to be a man, because when Max came along, you saw how he was looking. Like, yeah, he loved her. He was kind of like looking over her, but at the same time, he had some kind of like, I don't know. It's like he had some kind of like jealousy or animosity
He
towards
couldn't.
Max.
He didn't have any kind of affection or compassion towards her. Like he's just like, I'm gonna protect you because I'm your older brother, but I really don't like you that much.
Yeah.
Like
But
he
I
kind of.
mean, Billy was out here in the city being the man, meeting at these grown mamas and things at these hotels. Because
Can we can we
last
take a
season,
second to see that Mike's mom almost cheated on us?
baby, and was finna give good old Billy the business.
I'm talking about she dressed herself up. She smelling good. Done walked down the stairs to see her husband asleep with her child. She just was like, dang.
Right.
But here's the thing: did she go back and change her clothes and change her mind, or it just didn't go down because Billy didn't show up?
They never really said, but you just want to believe that she changed her mind.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I
no,
don't want to believe
she
she
did
changed her mind because the next day she confronted him though.
Yeah, she did
She
change her mind
confronted him. Like
because
she
she
was
said she
pissed
wanted to
off
tell
that
him
he didn't
about
show
last
up.
night.
Because when she confronted him, she was saying, "I'm sorry that I didn't come." So she
Yeah,
even, yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay.
mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay then.
But who mama was it last season he was finna get a business to? He ran up on somebody else's mama last season.
That show you he got mama issues. You know they lost their mama, so he over here trying to be with a sugar mama. You hear me? He trying to get all the benefits.
That's why I like, that's why I didn't even like Billy until that death, because the mind flayer, the way he got at Billy was like, oh my gosh, like you knew what it was capable of, but when it,
Yeah.
when it went full blast like that, I was just like, oh my goodness. Like this
Um,
was not a good death at all. And I appreciate that they showed the whole magnitude of the mind flayer. Like they didn't it wasn't implied anymore. He wasn't beating around the bush anymore. He
oh no,
wasn't
they
just the
showed you
shadow
what he
anymore.
looked like for
He was
real.
out
Like,
there in all his like monstrous glory.
But he still looked low budget to me. That annoyed me. The mind
that's where he
looked like
actually
a low
scared me
budget
though.
monster.
Like he actually scared me. I'm gonna be honest. Like them breaking down, like the rats was okay, but when people was going in front of him and just decomposing, breaking down, and like morphing into one
One
body,
big
that
body.
scared me. I had nightmares that night, and I like, I shoot, I'm a fan, but that
I
freaked me out.
I like, and speaking of what you just said, when all the bodies was coming to get that gave me the Thing vibes.
Yeah,
That's
they
what
did a
it,
lot of
it
references.
yeah, that it kind of reminded me of, that the mind flare was getting bigger because of all of these, bodies. And I mean, and think
Yeah.
about it, in the Thing, you never knew who had the thing until it was too late. And that's kind of how it happened in the Stranger Things. Like they didn't really know who had it. Like they didn't really know it was Billy. They didn't really know that it was that old lady who had it. And that how all of them was just like coming together for because of the mind flare. I'm like, okay, this is giving me the Thing vibes.
I had a coworker. We were talking about Stranger Things at work, and she brought up something that I didn't even pay attention to. Have you ladies noticed that everybody that has passed away due to the upside down names start with the letter B? Barbara, Bob, Billy,
Hmm.
and I
I
was
ain't
like, I didn't think about that, huh?
I would never have thought about that.
Mm-mm.
Me neither. And that's the truth.
But it was crazy to me how like there was that scene where you see the mind flare, like you said, all these bodies were breaking down, but right before that, you saw how many people he really had down there with him
And
in that
he had
warehouse.
children.
How these folks going missing in the town and ain't nobody saying shit? That's way too many people.
Right.
Well, what was going on is that they had the parasite in them, but they went back
Yes.
and function. They went back to function like they were regular. You know what I'm saying? That
Like
they
a,
just couldn't be around a lot of heat.
invasion of the body snatchers type situation.
Yeah.
Because
So
True.
whenever the mind player would like basically let them know like you need to come to me, that's when
Mm-hmm.
they all would leave from their area and go to the mind flayer. Because I don't know if you all remember when the old lady was at the hospital and he sent off a signal and she was like, I
Mm-hmm.
gotta go, I gotta
Yeah,
get to
yeah.
him, I
when they was at the fair too, you saw all them random people just start walking.
Yeah, like even the children.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just talking about movie references. You said the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Thing. I think we was talking about something from Dawn of the Dead too, right?
Mm-hmm. There was like
Um,
the I want to say it was the escalator slide thing that was a reference from like from Dawn of the Dead. It was a portion when they were running away. I think it was probably when they were running away from the Russians.
okay, so talking about the Russians, when they got the code, do you think you would have been able to crack that code? Like,
Nope.
Hell no.
being
Mm-mm.
I think I
Nope.
would have tried, but I wouldn't have gotten as far. Like I would have tried. Cause think about it, back then it's what else you got to do? What else you gonna do? You're gonna go to the library, grab a book, do something. I might as well try to interpret this language to figure out what they talking about. I'm bored. Let me see what they talking about. So I probably would have tried, but I wouldn't have figured.
I might have interpreted into English, but I wouldn't have cracked the code like the cat and the panda and whatever. The silver cat. No, I wouldn't have got all that.
I
That's
would
why I
have
was like, how
tried,
did
or
she
would have
even
tried to
do
find
that?
somebody that would help me do it, but I wouldn't have did it by myself.
Mm-mm.
The other movie reference that I peeped. I don't know if they were really doing it, but this is what I thought about was Alien, whenever the mind flayer broke into the cabin and he was like leaning over Elle and his mouth was like right there upon her. It
Oh,
it reminded me of the alien when the alien was like right up on what was the lady's name and it dropped
Sigourney Weaver.
out.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Yes, it
shit
did. It did bring you
flipping
that
out.
those the
What you say?
Alien movie vibes, which I appreciated. Like I appreciated that they gave us, especially like people who love 80s type horror, and we like a fan of just like the horror genre and stuff like that. They do little things to play homage to that. So shout out to the Duffer Brothers for
Oh
you
yeah.
know giving Easter eggs to us fanatics.
Desiree, you was about to say something. What was you gonna say?
Girl, I don't know.
Oh Lord. Did a woo woo woo.
Right.
So you talking about movies? I think
No,
we was talking about the movie.
you were talking about the Russians. Um,
Oh yeah, the rest.
and I was gonna say I like how they brought Murray back in because of the Russians. Because
Hmm.
last season he was just crazy. This season he was crazy again, but had some validity to his craziness.
You
And
see
I was
why
shocked.
he's crazy.
And I was shocked that he could speak a fluent Russian. Um, and then they got rid of my favorite character because I don't know if anybody else gave a darn about Alexi, but he grew on me.
I did. I went and got my Slurpee yesterday from 7-Eleven. I got cherry.
Once he realized what fun was and living life, like he grew on me, and I was like, oh, he gonna make it. But then when I saw that doggone assassin coming through the crowd, I was like, oh, Alexi done. It's over.
Oh, and did y'all see the way that he did it though? Like, okay,
That
like
was so
I was sad
mean.
about Alexi, but y'all gotta say that was a smooth kill though. Okay, that was
Okay, the
real
reason
smooth.
why I was mad, not just because Alexi died, because that did hurt my feelings, but I was mad that the Russian assassin was trying to copy Terminator. He was giving me Terminator
He
vibes the
did give
entire
you
time.
Arnold Schwarzenegger vibes.
I'm talking about how he was moving, everything. Like, come on, White. I don't know if he did that on purpose.
I think so. I think that was intentional for some more little Easter eggs for us.
The whole time, every time I saw him, I was like, man, he a fake Arnold, man. Look at Arnold, y'all. Look at
I had to give it to him because the way he killed Alexi, y'all, that was just way too smooth. I'm like, okay, he a good assassin. He's a force to be reckoned with. Okay, I was almost on his side for like 5 seconds.
no,
No,
no man. Like,
I was
I mean,
almost on his
Lexi, like he figured out that America, like even though yes, we know we got some crooked ways, but you can find joy and everything is not rigged. Like you really can have a so-called decent life. And once he figured that out, like Desiree said, here come Arnold wannabe.
Y'all gotta admit, that was a one-man killing machine. He was
He
good.
couldn't get Harper down. He probably beat him up and bruised him up, but he couldn't kill him.
You getting on my nerves on that motorcycle.
What? I was wishing they would have laid down them little nail things.
Oh, the little nail strips.
Yeah. That would have took him out. So, okay, we didn't talk about Nancy. So, I want to say that I was so proud of Nancy. Like, she kind of broke the cycle of what her mother was doing, like, not living up to your fullest potential because of what other people say or how you think other people expect you to live your life. Nancy was like, bump that. I'm going to live my life not just for me, but for you, mom. And so, like, whenever, because she's an intern at the news station, and it's nothing but all males that work there, and they basically was bashing her whenever she would come back with information or a piece of information for a news article. And so her mom just told her, like, don't allow them to knock you down. If you believe in yourself and you believe in this story, then do it and finish it. And so look at what happened. Like, her stuff was like, what, on CNN?
But see, I felt differently about Nancy. I felt like how Jonathan felt about her.
She was
Like,
selfish.
yeah, like she was entitled and selfish. She's like, some of us in the world actually have to work hard for what we have. We
Yeah,
got to start from the bottom and work our way up. And she wanted to be all the way at the top already. He's like, no, you got to pay your dues and do it like everybody else. You got to put in the grunt work and the hard work so you can get to where you want to be. She wanted to be the best quickly. And Jonathan is like, that's not how it works.
Right.
Yeah. But that's why I feel like they would make a good couple, because even though she was trying to do that, she didn't know no better, because that was her perspective. That's the way she was raised, and she was privileged. He wasn't privileged. So he kind of let her see, like, I just lost my job. How we going to eat?
Right.
I got to take care of my household. You don't have to worry about that. So I agree. You're right. She was privileged, but I still feel as though she still stood up for herself, A lot of people, that's just how I feel. I'm proud of her, but at the same time, she was a little privileged brat.
And I'm still confused as to how y'all shacking up in somebody's mama house. Y'all ain't grown.
Girl. They think they grown.
That threw me off.
Right. Right.
I don't know. I feel like, are we leaving anything out? What y'all think gonna happen in season 4?
Huh?
What y'all think gonna happen in season 4?
I don't know. Splitting up is a hard thing.
I would like to see Elle reaching out to her sister because she might need help getting her powers back. I feel like she's going to get to a place where she's like, I want my powers back. I'm going to need them for something. And she reaches back out to her sister. I also think the Russians are going to use Hopper to their advantage. Hopper probably going to get the business over there. We're going to see some torturing. Shout out to Steve, because them Russians really whooped his ass for a good few minutes. He took that.
I thought they was going to pull off some body parts.
Steve was getting a Frank Castle ass whooping.
And they thought he was joking.
That's what was killing me.
I was like, they was getting Steve for a minute. Speaking of Steve, I would like to see him bring back his bat with the nails. Okay, I like that. It's like his own. It kind of reminds me of like Negan's bat. Like Negan has his bat with the spikes around it, and Steve has his little bat with the nails on it. I need him to bring that back.
You know who we did not talk about though? I did not like this character the entire time. I wanted to beat him up and skin him. The man. The man.
Yeah, he was whack.
He was so whack.
Agreed.
How he was the Russians. He remind me of somebody, but I ain't gonna say nothing because they be watching stuff, and I don't want to be arrested in no jail cell. But he over here click it up
Can't
with the
even eat
Russians.
Cheetos no more.
Okay, he can't eat Cheetos no more.
Oh yeah, I think he
I
still
don't
has
even
a
want
little
to
bit
feel the
more.
orange no more too much unless I'm celebrating Savannah State University.
But no, but Jay asked you asked what did we leave out? We left out the best scene of the entire season
What it
because
is?
when we needed to know what Plank's constant was, we got the best surprise ever. That is my favorite scene.
Go ahead.
So if you have not watched it, y'all, everybody is booed up this season. You got Mike and Elle, Luke and Max, and then Dustin comes back from camp and he's talking about this girl that's everything. He done built this big contraption to talk to Susie. He trying to talk to her every day. She won't come through on the walkie-talkie. And we get to the very end of the season. And lo and behold, she's a genius like Dustin, and we need to know what Plank's constant was. So we had to call Susie. And when I tell you they sang that song, I don't know if you have watched The Never Ending Story. If you haven't, you whack lame. Your childhood was trash. The Never Ending Story is one of the best movies. And before homegirl would hear anything about Dustin talking to her after he done ghosted her, she wanted to hear that love song. And the two of them singing The Never Ending Story was the best thing to me.
Bro, and they was really into it too. I was like, you better sing, Dustin.
Dancing and everything.
And then they harmonized. It was like the never ending story. Like,
It was great.
right. I did leave that out because that was the best. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Ever since I've watched that, I've been hearing that song every in my head.
Yes. Tell
That's
me
why I had to pull it out, y'all. I was like, I'm a true nerd. Like, I love the Never Ending Story ever since it came out. Like, and I was old enough to watch it because as a kid, when it come out, 87, I was just
girl,
born.
yeah.
No, it came out in 84.
I wanted a dog like that.
I was born in 87, so I probably watched it in like 90. And one thing that stuck out in Never Ending Story is if you watch it, it tells you about the trials of life, like the journey of life. And like, you're going to have those times where you're going to go through things where you have to leave behind certain people because they can't come with you along the journey. Or you're going to have to look in the mirror and face yourself because no one's going to know you better than yourself. Or whenever you're hurt or you're going through pain, in order for it to heal, it has to hurt first. So like, not trying to sound like a nerd, but I just love how the Duffer Brothers tied all that in because if you understand their references, then you can kind of understand the whole thing about Stranger Things because it has its own life lessons as well in there. If you pay
Yeah.
attention to the different dynamics of the relationships, you can see like, hey, I love that about how they get along together. But that's right, I need to spend more time with my family because what if something happens and I can't be with my family as much because you don't know.
Yeah.
Alone tomorrow.
You know what? I really like the letter that Hopper left for Elle.
Oh, yeah.
I thought
Because I
that,
thought he
that
trashed
didn't
it all
really leave the letter that he was supposed to tell her in person and really didn't get the chance to tell her in person. But, you know, those are two people that they didn't have any family. They made their own family. They made themselves a family. And, you know, in a place where they didn't have anybody. And they actually ended up having each other and they formed a really caring and loving family. And you know, I feel for her because that was the only father that she ever knew. Like he didn't have to take care of her like he did.
I'm about to say the other guy, she called him Papa, but he wasn't good to her.
Mm-hmm.
She, you know what I'm saying? That was her first dad, but she realized like, no, you're not a good person for me.
So that was torment.
So, I want to talk about what we're going to talk about next. show, we're going to talk about the series of Insidious. So, just like, get ready, because it's spooky. Just like with Stranger Things, they also talk about a different what you want to call it, dimension, probably further. Have you ladies watched it? Any of them?
Yes.
And that's what kind of made me think, while we were, going through Stranger Things and talking about, their parallel universe, the Upside Down, that kind of, made me think about what other, films that I've seen where they had like another dimension that they were like back and forth in. And I thought about Insidious because they had that whole other flip side that was tormenting them for a period of time. And I was just
Yep.
like, okay, we got to explore this some more. Since, while we're headed in this place of, other dimensions and parallel universes, let's talk about the one from Insidious.
I like Insidious.
Um, Follow us on Facebook at The Fifth Wall and the Fifth Column, Temper Drinks, Instagram, The Fifth Wall, The Fifth Column, Temper Drinks. Official Fifth Wall is on Twitter, so follow us, keep in touch with us. Um, we did a live tweet of the Scream Resurrection earlier this week. It was a 3 night event. Y'all, I actually liked it. The cast was like multicultural. And I really liked what in the beginning it was like, are they going to be just super cheesy? But as the story played out, I really liked it. They had a couple of different plot twists. It was, to me, it was fun. It was a fun
It was
little.
fun, but it was still cheesy.
It was still cheesy.
It was still cheesy.
It
The
was
best actor on there was Keke Palmer.
it was fun and cheesy. Oh, join our Facebook group, Horror in Hooch, where you will get access to everything Horror in Hooch and all kind of little horror tidbits and stuff like, Horror Fans Unite and Horror in Hooch group. There's a lot of horror fun in that group too. Um, we will see everybody in 2 weeks. Catch up on Insidious. There are 3 parts to it. Yes, and yes, it is kind of spooky.
It is. That's
For
one of my
those who
favorites.
get scared of like paranormal type movies, you might be too scared to watch it. But for those who like to just dive right in there, yes, come on into Insidious because that has the whole story plot line is about this whole extra parallel universe. So that's where we will be at in 2 weeks.